Students, let's do Brahmanadam. Om Shanti 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 Swasth.
Good morning students, welcome back to class again. Today we are going to start again, that is from your cell structure and function. In previous classes we have studied the cell wall, and today we are going to study the structure of cell membrane which is present after the cell wall. Okay, cell wall is present mostly in the plant cells and it is absent in animal cells. Mostly cell wall is consist of 3 to 4 layers. One is your middle lamella, then primary cell wall, secondary cell wall, and in some cases you can find the tertiary cell wall. In middle lamella, that is it is composed of calcium and magnesium pectate, and the primary cell wall is composed of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. The secondary cell wall is composed of mainly cellulose, hemicellulose and lignin, and in some cases you can find the tertiary cellular structure, in which it is composed of cellulose and xylem structure. And then we have studied the ultrastructure of or microscopic structure of the cell wall, in which it is composed of cellulose fibers, elementary fibrils, and we can find the smaller molecules of fibril molecule. Okay, then next we have studied the structure of pits and plasmodesmata. What is the pit and plasmodesmata? These are pore-like structures which is present in between two cells. The plasmodesmata maintains. What is the main function of plasmodesmata? Yes, that is, it maintains the protoplasmic continuity in between two cells. Then we have studied several cellular depositions like your cutin, lignin, suberin and mucilase. These depositions mainly help the plant in the process of lignification, and also it stops or protects itself from the excess loss of water that you have studied in transpiration process. What is transpiration process? In transpiration process, there is loss of excess water, and this is stopped by the deposition of cutin in the cuticle layer. You have studied, recall it, you can remind it. Okay. Then next, today we are going to study the structure of cell membrane. Okay, where it is present. Suppose this is your cell. This is the outer covering we have discussed in the previous class. This is your cell wall. This is known as your cell wall. And after the cell wall, there is presence of another layer that is known as your plasma membrane or plasma membrane, or we call it as cell membrane. Membrane which covers the cell and present after the cell wall. Okay, we can write it as cell membrane. Cell membrane is the thin covering present below the cell wall. And where it is present? Already we have discussed, cell membrane is present in prokaryotic as well as eukaryotic cell. It is present in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. What do you mean by prokaryotes? That is, they have incipient nucleus. We have earlier discussed, that is, the bacteria, these are included in the prokaryotic cell. These are having the plasma membrane structure. Then in eukaryotic cell, that is presence of plant and animal cell. But in animal cell, we don't find any cell wall, but in plant cell, we have our cell membrane structure. Then this structure of cell membrane is first, it is coined by the term, the cell membrane is coined by, C. Nageli C. Kramer. Okay, who first coined the term cell membrane? That is C. Nageli and C. Kramer first coined the term, that is your cell membrane. You can find, we have previously discussed, there are several cell organelles like your nucleus, your mitochondria and chloroplast. These are present inside your plasma membrane and it is called as your protoplasmic structure. As plasma membrane covers the all cellular organelles, it is also called as plasma membrane or cell membrane. It is also called as plasma membrane is also called as biomembrane or biological membrane. What do you mean by here bio and biological? Okay, bio ultimately means it belongs to living thing. Okay, as it contains the living component, you know that plasma membrane is the living component. That's why it is also called as biomembrane or biological membrane. It contains most of your living organism or living components, that is your cell organelles like mitochondria, chloroplast, etc. Okay, then we will discuss about some structural model of the plasma membrane. Note down these points. Let us discuss about some models regarding the structure of cell membrane. Mainly there are three models proposed by different scientists. One is your lamellar model, or it is called as your sandwich model. This model is known as your Galilei and Batson model, or that is known as your trilamellar structure. And second model is known as your Robertson model. It is also known as your unit membrane model. Unit membrane. And third one is your fluid mosaic model. Fluid mosaic model. These are three models. Then we will first start with the lamellar model. First is your lamellar model or sandwich model. Why sandwich model is given? Because here you can find the protein and different lipid structures are like the sandwich structure. Let us draw the diagram of your lamellar model. That is presence of phospholipid bilayer upon which there is presence of protein structures. Or globular protein is present. Okay, these structures are bilayer structures of phospholipid bilayer. This is known as your phospholipid bilayer. Then there is presence of unit membrane of protein. This is known as your membrane. You can see these two structures. It is known as your phospholipid bilayers, and these structures are known as your unit membrane of protein. This is known as your globular protein. This is also globular protein. Okay. This structure is known as your head of the phospholipid bilayer and it is known as your tail of the phospholipid bilayer. The head portion is hydrophilic. Head portion is hydrophilic. Head portion is hydrophilic and tail portion is hydrophobic. You can see the protein, the lipid bilayers are present in the form of sandwich-like structure, and the head portion is present towards your protein unit membrane structure, and tail portion is present towards the membrane phospholipid structure. It is made up of phospholipid bilayer, and this phospholipid bilayer there is presence of or it is covered by a unit membrane of structure. This phospholipid bilayer structure, this phospholipid bilayer is sandwiched by unit membrane of protein. Here you can see the unit membrane structure of protein which sandwich the phospholipid bilayer structure. These proteins are globular proteins. These proteins are globular proteins. Okay, and the thickness of the protein is around, this is around 20 angstrom. This protein also 20 angstrom, and phospholipid bilayer is around 35 angstrom. The phospholipid bilayer is around 35 angstrom. Around 20 plus 20, 35 is the thickness of the biomembrane or the phospholipid bilayer is around 75 angstrom. Thickness is around, thickness of the sandwich model is around 75 angstrom. Okay, note down these points. Second model is your Robertson model, that is also known as your unit membrane, and this is proposed by this model is proposed by J. David Robertson in 1959. Okay, this is your phospholipid bilayer. If you compare the sandwich model and unit membrane structure, then you can find the globular proteins are present in case of sandwich model, but here you can find the extended protein structures. Extended proteins are present in unit membrane structure. Extended proteins. These are known as your, this is the phospholipid bilayer and these are the extended proteins and present in the both side. This is known as your extended protein. This is also extended protein. And this is Here also we have a hydrophilic head and also hydrophobic tail. Hydrophilic head and hydrophobic head. Okay. What do you mean by hydrophilic? Hydro, that is means water. The head portion of your phospholipid bilayer, it is water lovable, and the tail portion of the phospholipid bilayer, that is hydrophobic, that is it is water hating. Hydrophilic is water loving and hydrophobic is water hating. Okay, this structure is proposed by David Robertson, and the phospholipid bilayer, lipid bilayer is covered by unit membrane, and that unit membrane is your extended proteins, not globular proteins. That unit membrane structure here is your extended protein, and thickness also here. Thickness of the unit membrane, is around 75 angstrom. That is, the extended protein is around 20 angstrom. Here also extended protein is around 20 angstrom, and phospholipid bilayer is around 35 angstrom. But occasionally the thickness of the unit membrane may varies from 75 to 90 angstrom, but usually you can find that is your 75 angstrom. Okay, note down these points. Then we will discuss about the third model, that is your fluid mosaic model. Okay, one point is to be noticed, that is why fluid mosaic model came into existence, because two models, that is proposed by Sandys model and the unit membrane proposed by Robertson, it have some drawbacks. What is the drawbacks? Is that drawbacks of unit membrane model? It is that it does not explain about the transport of water and other mineral solutes which are transported through the phospholipid bilayer. It does not explain the transport of water and other minerals through phospholipid bilayer. The next one is your, it does not explain about mechanism of active transport. These are main 2 points. That's why the unit membrane model is not accepted. That is, it does not explain about the transport of water molecules. By which method in phospholipid bilayer the water is moving, and by which method the active transport is occurring. It does not explain. That's why the fluid mosaic model came into existence. The third model is your fluid mosaic model. You can see the structure of the fluid mosaic model. This is your structure of fluid mosaic model, which is very different from your Sandys model and unit membrane structure. That's why it is the universal model and it is most accepted one after the unit membrane structure. Here you can see there is presence of phospholipid bilayer. Phospholipid bilayer. Like that of your unit membrane structure, you find two layers of phospholipid structure, inside which there is presence of several proteins. Here you can see the protein structures which is present outside the phospholipid bilayer and also inside the phospholipid bilayer. Okay, but in unit membrane structure, the protein structures are present upon the surface, not in the inside of the phospholipid bilayer. Here, that's why it is different from that of your unit membrane structure. This is your phospholipid bilayer structure. In phospholipid bilayer, what you will find? You will find a head portion and another your tail portion. The head portion is already you have known that is head is your hydrophilic in nature. Here head structure it is head is hydrophilic, that is hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means that is it is water lovable. It is water loving. And the tail portion, this is your tail portion. Tail portion is your hydrophobic, and it is known as your water liquid. Okay, this is the normal structure. Then you will find two types of proteins. Here the proteins are known as integral proteins or intrinsic proteins, and the proteins which are present on the surface, that are known as your peripheral proteins. Okay, first this model is proposed by, first point is your, this model is proposed by J. Singer and G. Nicholson in 1972. Who proposed this theory or this model? That is J. Singer and G. Nicholson. Here we find the another point is that the phospholipid bilayer is different from unit membrane structure or unit membrane model as proposed by Robertson. That is your second model. But here the phospholipid bilayer, why it is different? Already I have told that is presence of two types of protein. One is your peripheral protein and next one is your or integral protein. Mainly there is presence of two types of protein. There is presence of two types of protein. What is that two type? One is your extrinsic protein and next one is your intrinsic protein. First is your extrinsic protein and second one is your intrinsic protein. Okay, extrinsic protein are present on the surface of the phospholipid bilayer, and intrinsic protein, these are some intrinsic protein which are present inside your phospholipid bilayer. Extrinsic protein are also called as peripheral protein. This is your extrinsic protein. And this one is your intrinsic protein. This one also known as your intrinsic protein. Another point is that peripheral proteins are very loosely arranged to the phospholipid structure, but the intrinsic protein or the intermembrane proteins are very tightly arranged and we cannot remove this protein easily, but we can remove this protein, the extrinsic protein we can remove easily from the phospholipid bilayer. Okay, intrinsic protein is also known as your integral protein, or we call it as transmembrane protein, transmembrane protein, extrinsic and intrinsic. Note down these points, then we will discuss some more points about the fluid mosaic model. The next point is your, that is fourth point. Here you can see the phospholipid bilayer. It is hydrophilic in nature and also hydrophobic in nature. That is, it is possessing dual characteristics. One is water loving and water hating. These characteristics of phospholipid bilayer, this characteristic of phospholipid bilayer, lipid that is hydrophilic and hydrophobic nature is known as amphipathic nature. Okay, we called it as your amphipathic nature. That is, it consists of both hydrophilic head and also hydrophilic head. This is your hydrophilic head and this is hydrophobic head. The next one is your, this phospholipid bilayer also having some carbohydrates or sugars which are attached to the surface. If the carbohydrate portion is attached to the phospholipid, it is known as your glycolipid, and if that carbohydrate or sugar is attached to the protein structure, then this is known as your glycoprotein. Suppose this is one your carbohydrate or sugar, it is attached to the phospholipid bilayer. This is known as your glycolipid. As the carbohydrate is attached to the lipid structure, it is known as a glycolipid, and another carbohydrate is attached to the protein. This is known as a glycoprotein. As it is, the carbohydrate is attached to the protein structure. The next one is your, the carbohydrates attached to lipid bilayer is known as glycolipid, and carbohydrate attached to protein known as glycoprotein. Okay, these are two types of glycolipid and glycoprotein molecules. And another most important point is that these are quasi-fluid. Okay, plasma membrane is quasi-fluid in nature. What do you mean by quasi-fluid? That is, the plasma membrane which surrounds the protoplasm, it is a fluid-like structure, and this fluid structure helps the cell during the cell division process and the movement of several cell organelles and transport of several minerals inside your cell. Okay, these are some important points regarding your fluid mosaic model. It can come as your short note. Okay, you can draw the diagram and note down these points. Okay, below the diagram you have to write this is your fluid mosaic model of cell membrane. Okay, this model is known as your fluid mosaic model. Always write down the name of the diagram which you have drawn. Okay, this is the fluid mosaic model. Okay, as we have earlier discussed, that is fluid mosaic model is most accepted one. Why it is most accepted? Because it defines that phospholipid bilayer is actively involved in the transport of water molecules and other minerals from one cell to the other cell. That's why its main function will be the transport of the different molecules like water and other minerals inside your cell membrane structure. As we have earlier discussed, that is your plasmodesmata, which are the interjunction in between two cells, which is the extended portion of your plasma membrane. That also helps in the transport of the different molecules. Okay, first important function of the cell membrane is that it helps in transport of water and other minerals. Which is the most important one? The transfer of water and other minerals occur in between two cells through the plasmodesmata. Then next point is your, it is semi-permeable in nature. It is semi-permeable. Semi-permeable in nature. We have also earlier discussed about the semi-permeable nature. What is that semi-permeable nature? Semi-permeable is that plasma membrane allows selective molecules or the selective solutes to be transported in between two cells. Suppose this is your one cell and this is another cell. The transport of molecules inside the in between two cells and also outside the cell, the solutes will be selectively transported into the cell and out of the cell. Okay, this occurs in selective manner. And the mainly the transport of water and minerals occurs in two processes. One is a passive transport and another one is your active transport. The transport of molecules, occur in two pathways. One is your passive transport and next one is your active transport. Active transport. In passive transport, we are using or there is no involvement of energy, but in active transport, there is involvement of energy in the form of ATP. There is no energy is required in passive transport, but we require energy for transport of molecules in between cells. Note down these points, then we will discuss about separately. We will discuss about passive and active transport. In passive transport, first is your passive transport. Here, no energy is required. Passive transport can be of two types. One is your simple diffusion and next one is your osmosis. In simple diffusion process, there is movement of solutes from higher concentration to the lower concentration occurs. Here, simple diffusion, movement of solutes from higher concentration to here there is no involvement of any membrane. But in case of osmosis, there is involvement of membrane, or we call it as a semi-permeable membrane. In osmosis, there is movement of solvents through a semi-permeable membrane. Through a semi-permeable membrane. From region of higher concentration, to region of lower concentration. Okay, here in simple diffusion process, we will see there is transport of solutes from higher concentration, to lower concentration. Okay, if you say, suppose this is one of your cell which is having more solutes. This is your solvent and this is your solute. Then this portion of the solvent is having more solute concentration. Then in diffusion process, this solute will be equally distributed in the solvent molecule. Then this solvent will be equally distributed. Okay. The higher the solute, it will diffuse inside your solvent, and this process is known as your simple diffusion process. Okay, you can see when we are adding salt or any sugar into the water, then it is diffusing throughout the solvent. It is known as a simple diffusion. But in case of osmosis, there is presence of a membrane. Suppose this is one of your semi-permeable membrane. And here we have different solutes. Okay, as we have told that movement of solvents from higher concentration to the lower concentration in osmosis. Here you can find, suppose this is your solute and these are the solvents. Then solvent is the water, then water will move from the higher concentration to the lower concentration. Here water will be more and it will be transported to the lower water concentration. This is known as your osmosis process, which is commonly occur in the plasma membrane. The next one is your active transport. Second one is your active transport. In active transport, there is requirement of energy in the form of ATP. Why it requires energy? Because the transport of the solutes require a pump-like system, that is known as your sodium and potassium pump. As we know that the plasma membrane is selectively permeable. When the outer solutes will try to flow inside the cell, they require a energy system. That energy system is generated by your sodium and potassium pump. These sodium and potassium pump are present inside your phospholipid bilayer structure, and it gives the energy for the flow of the outer molecule inside your cell, and that's why it is known as your active transport process. Note down these points, then we will discuss about some functions of plasma membrane. Okay, let us discuss about some important functions that cell membrane is doing. That is, one function is it It is selectively permeable. We have already discussed it is selectively permeable. What do you mean by selectively permeable? Yes, that is, it helps in transport of molecules of selective solutes. Then next point is your, it helps in cellular compartmentalization. Cellular compartmentalization. What do you mean by cellular compartmentalization? Here, the plasma membrane which is present, which is the outer covering in the animal cell, in plant cell it is present after the cell wall. Okay, in plasma, as it is present in animal cell, it is providing a protection to the cell organelles which is present inside your plasma membrane. That's why it is called as your cellular compartmentalization. The next point is your, it provides shape to the cell and also protection, provides protection and also protection to the cell. Okay, as it is the outer covering of the cell, it providing the shape and also protection against the foreign pathogens which are which came into the existence or try to enter the plant cell, and it is protected by the plasma membrane structure. Then next one is your cell recognition and adhesion. Okay, adhesion means and recognition. Okay, the next one is your, it also throws out substances which are not needed by the cell, throws out the substances through exocytosis and take in substances which are required by the cells by the process of endocytosis. Okay, here you can see exocytosis and endocytosis. Those substances which are not needed by the cell or the excretory materials are the throws out of the cell by the process of exocytosis, and those substances which are needed by the cell come into the cell by the process of endocytosis. This is the two types, one is your phagocytosis and one is your pinocytosis. In pinocytosis, cell receives the external molecules in the form of liquid, that is known as your pinocytosis, and if the extra molecules are received or ingested into the cells in the process of in the form of solids, that is known as your phagocytosis. Then note down these points. The next one is your, it helps in transport of impulse in nerve cells, that is present in your animal cells. We have nerve cells in which impulses are transported through cell membrane. The next point is your, in bacteria cell membrane, enzymes are present which helps in ATP synthesis. Enzymes helps in ATP synthesis. Then in amoeba we have, in amoeba which are having pseudopodia like structure which mainly helps in the movement of amoeba. We have fibroblast, we have fibroblast present in cell membrane which helps in fibroblast helps in movement in amoeba. Okay. We have discussed some important functions of cell membrane. Then what we have studied today, let us recall that we have studied the cell membrane structure and different models regarding the cell membrane. First we have studied the that is your sandwich model, then unity membrane model, but these two models having some drawbacks, that is the active transport and the movement of water and different minerals cannot be explained by this unit membrane structure and that is your sandwich model. That's why the fluid mosaic model came into existence, which is the most accepted one. Then in the fluid mosaic model you can see the transport of molecules different way, that is by the two methods. One is your passive transport and another one is your active transport. In passive transport you have seen the simple diffusion process and osmosis process, and active transport process you have seen there is involvement of energy in the form of ATP. Okay, and finally we have discussed some important functions of plasma membrane. Okay, today we complete this lecture. Next class we will discuss about some other cell organelles. Thank you.